Hi, and welcome to this video where we're going to talk about business process and continued business process improvement. So we're going to give you a bit of an introduction, what a business process is. We're going to go into some of the methodologies and we'll give you some stories to hopefully set the scene and give you an idea as to why it's important to continually check them and check for improvements. So let's jump straight in. So what is a business process? Well, a business process is a set of steps or tasks that you or your team do repeatedly to conduct your work. Now, having good processes will lead to an efficient business, would also give good productivity, and you'll end up with good customer satisfaction because hopefully they've experienced a very good experience with you, and you want to have that a repeatable experience so that when they come back they get the same thing and they know what to expect. Also, having good processes will also help in supporting you in getting to your end goal. So we've already covered strategy, and having processes that help and align your strategy into where you're trying to go means that we can record it and we can keep track and keep on target. So we live in a digital age, and as a result, there are systems for pretty much anything that you can think of. And every business will use a system at some point. And having a system does not mean you've gotten rid of your process. It simply means that processes have been automated to make them even more efficient. And when we look at business processes, we are looking at end to end, and that will include human interaction and what's happening on the system. So one of the quotes that I wanted to put out there was something that Bill Gates has said. And he said, the first rule in any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an effective operation will magnitude the effectiveness. The second is that automation applied to an ineffective organization will magnify the ineffectivity. And as a rule, what we're effectively saying there is a bad process will consume probably 10 times the amount of hours that a good process will do. So I've been fortunate that I've got to work for a number of businesses and I've experienced good and bad processes. Now, it's not that they started out as bad processes, and one of the things I want to highlight here is that what we're simply saying about bad processes is no longer required. There's a lot of waste there, or that bad habits have been picked up, and this is typically because processes haven't been checked or haven't been looked at, or when you're training someone new in that it's not necessarily following the same pattern, it's picked up a bad habit and then they're training the bad habit to someone else and so on and so forth. So we need to make sure, and this is why we do a process map, is that we're doing everything right and we're following everything the way that we want it to go. And we want to continually improve these things and make sure that we're doing only the good stuff. So there are many types of methodologies out there. Just to name a few, you've got Lean, you've got Sigma 6, you've got Kaizen, you've got BPMN, process maps. But in essence, what they're all trying to do to some extent is they're just trying to get rid of the waste. And when we talk about the waste, we're talking about a process or a part of the process which is no longer required, that we shouldn't be doing, and that is seen as a waste. And these things happen all the time. You might have someone that have been doing a process over and over again, but it's no longer required and they just haven't been told, or that they started adding something extra in. So let's just take, for example, a system where we're logging what's going on and they're recording information which is no longer required. And as a result, they're adding time and they're doing stuff which doesn't support us going forward. And that's what we would consider to be business waste. Now, I've been very fortunate and I've got to work with lots and lots of systems and system implementations. And coming from a data perspective and an analytics perspective, what I've often found is that that's always left until the end. So you'll have a system that's implemented and you'll get a load of processes put in place. And then you're going, well, what information did you want out of it? And that's when you get a lot of people going, well, I don't know. And you then find you have to go back and redo processes to make sure that the information that we're getting out is actually getting put in the first instance, and you'd be surprised how often that happens. So when I first go into any organisation, I will always ask why you're doing something, and then I'll ask again once I've got given an answer, and I'll make sure that what we're doing is actually important. I'm a bit like one of those little kids that ask why over and over again, but I want to make sure that what we're doing is correct and we're doing the right kind of thing, really, and that any information that we get, it helps us to go in that right direction. The next thing we need to do is we need to look at what are we doing now? Is that right for the future? And I've got to experience again businesses where they experience large growth very quickly, and those processes that were put in place just can't handle it. You know, you might have one person who's been doing something, they're dealing with 100 and they can deal with that on a daily basis, yet when they suddenly get 1,000 inquiries or 1,000 something are coming in, they can't cope with it. And even getting in an extra person does not mean that that's efficient, you know, because you're then doing two of the same job. You know, that's when you want to look at, have we got the right systems? Do we need to get a system to help with automation to help that process run smoothly? And you are looking at it again from an end-to-end standpoint. So it's a constant thing that you want to look at. But if done right, you know, as you say, it will help you with your efficiency within the business. It will help you with productivity and you know, customer satisfaction. So it's important that we're continually reviewing that. And actually, no, any feedback is good feedback. So we want to constantly change and grow and move forward. Now, we've kind of covered there, we've given you a bit of an introduction. I've spoken briefly about the methodology. I've given you some examples. As I say, if you've got any questions, please leave comments, send us an email, you know, give us a call. Hopefully you'll like the video and you'll subscribe for the next one. Thank you.